Man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. What a game. Game 4 was crazy. This was an old school type of game. Very low scoring. It it was infuriating. It was crazy all around. It was heart pumping. It had the intensity. You just felt that whoever won this game was going to end up winning the series. If the Clippers would have found a way to tie this series and win a game like this, I would have been very concerned and said the Suns are in trouble. However, the Suns, they found a way to hold on. They never gave up their lead. They led the entire game. And it was tough because there was plenty of moments where they could have lost the lead, but they didn't lose it. Congratulations to the Phoenix Suns. You guys just battled it out with this Clippers team that refuses to die. And you found a way to get the win on the road. You're up 3-1 in the series, and it's right there. The NBA Finals is right there. One more win until Chris Paul will officially get to play in an NBA Finals, and NBA history will look right. So close. Come on, Phoenix. Close it. After a loss like this, I don't think the Clippers can rebound. The only thing that could save them is if Kawhi comes out of nowhere and says, you know what, I'm suiting up for Game 5. Kawhi plays Game 5, sure. But honestly, I, again, don't see that happening. For the most part, ever since we heard of his injury, I was assuming he was going to be out for the rest of the postseason. So I don't see him coming back to save the day. But if all of a sudden we hear Kawhi Leonard's going to play Game 5, this is a different conversation. Maybe they pull this off, but I don't know. But, yeah. Man, they're up 3-1. Just find a way to close it, Phoenix. Anything to talk about regarding the game? Nobody played well. Nobody. This was a terrible game for everybody. Everybody shot poor. Everybody was inefficient. It was one of those real old school type of games. It reminded me of Game 7 of the 2010 finals between the Lakers and the Celtics, where just everybody was just shooting terribly. Nobody could find a shot. It really came down to a couple possessions in the final minutes. Like, it came down to the wire. You just didn't know what was going to happen because nobody could buy a shot. Everybody was missing. This Clippers team is insane. I don't know how they find ways to fight back and recover. They were 4 of 22 from the three-point line in the first half. They scored 36 first-half points, yet they found a way to claw themselves back into this game. They won on a 30-19 run or something like that, 30-19 or 30-14 run, something like that in the third quarter, and they just found a way to get back in the game. And that led into the fourth quarter, which was just disgusting. The Suns took an early lead. They were playing relatively well, but even they couldn't hit a three. Nobody could buy a three in this game. They couldn't hit the three to save their lives, which is why both teams changed up their strategy. Coming out of half, both teams realized nobody's going to hit a three today, okay? They're missing, we're missing, we can't buy a three. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack the basket and utilize the mid-range. Old school basketball. We don't need the three-point line. Nobody can hit from there tonight. We're going to kill with the mid-range. We're going to set up our guys, attack the basket, get the contact, go to the free throw line, hit some free throws. That's how we're going to play basketball. Old school basketball without the three-point line. That's what this game turned into. The Clippers were doing that perfectly in the second half, especially that third quarter. They just kept attacking, and that's how they got back into the game. The Suns continued to try and shoot threes, but after they realized that's not going to work, they backed off, which led into one of the craziest fourth quarters we've seen. Nobody could score. It gave you one of those like Game 7 moments against the 2016 Finals, Game 7, Warriors and Cavs, where just nobody could buy a basket for like 3 straight minutes. Only in this case, I believe it was like 4. It was 4 minutes until CP3 lobbed it to DeAndre Ayton. He hits it. Meanwhile, the Clippers, I swear, they don't score for like 6 minutes straight. They can't buy a basket. And the craziest part about this is the Clippers were right there. They were right there. They fought back and made it a 1-point game. The Suns were up as much as 16 points in this game, and they fought back, and they dropped it to 1. But the saddest part is that 1-point lead stood there for like 4 straight minutes. The Clippers had ample opportunities to take the lead, but the Suns never gave up that lead. This was a defensive game, man. Clear defensive game. Yes, there was some sloppy plays, especially for the Suns offensively, and for the Clippers, they just started playing ISO ball at some points where they were like, give me the ball, I'm going to try and create something. They weren't moving the ball around. But it was definitely sloppy, which led to a lot of turnovers, but it was more so the defense. My God. Patrick Beverley played fantastic defense against Devin Booker. Like I said, nobody shot well. Nobody on the Suns shot well. Nobody on the Clippers shot well. Everybody was inefficient tonight. It just was terrible. Nobody could buy a shot. And the big part of that had to do with the defense. Because in the fourth quarter, both defenses tightened up and they started making some real great plays. They just started to do it. They really started to do it. They started to do it and they started getting it done. And we just started to see how this game, we sensed it. We sensed the moment and said, man, if anybody can buy a basket, they're going to win this. And we're just getting closer down to 3 minutes. And it's like, man, somebody's got to do something. But then here comes the Suns, man. CP3 leading the way, trying to set his guys up. Devin Booker as well, trying to set his guys up. Next thing you know, they got a 5-point game. Then they got a 7-point game. And it's just crazy. And it just looks like they're about to take it. It looks like they're about to take it. All of a sudden, it's like under 2 minutes, we're going. Next thing you know, Devin Booker, who, by the way, was doing everything he can, but was just having a very tough night because Patrick Beverley and the Clippers defense was frustrating him all night. He was really getting frustrated because he got a technical foul. And then all of a sudden, he got a technical foul. He had like multiple offensive fouls. He ended up fouling out of the game. This was a very, very difficult night for Devin Booker. So he fouls out the game. And because he fouls out the game, everyone's looking around and saying, well, it's time for CP3 to close this game. And the Clippers are just right there. They break that it wasn't even 7. It was a 5-point game, and they make it a 3-point game. And that 3-point lead, it just stuck. It just stuck, and it kept sticking that way until all of a sudden, the Clippers now, it's like, I believe, 17 seconds left. They have an opportunity to take the ball, score it, and tie the game. But Monty said, no. And what he did was good. That was genius by him. He said, we're not even going to let this team get an attempt. Despite the fact they're shooting terribly, they're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league. If we let them set up a good shot, they could very well tie the game. And with the exhaustion we're feeling and with Devin Booker fouled out, we don't want to go to overtime. So Monty decides, we're going to foul them. We're going to foul them, and we're going to keep fouling them. We're going to keep fouling them, no matter what. And that's what happened. They ended up fouling, and they kept fouling until they found a way to win. Now, here comes the criticism for Paul George that a lot of people are going to give him. Tonight, I'm not going to criticize Paul George. I'm going to hold him somewhat accountable for the missed free throw he had, because indirectly, that situation, because he missed that free throw, another situation happened where they could have tied the game. But here's the thing. Okay, I'm not going to hold him accountable for how he played in this game and down the stretch, even though, again, I always say this, a superstar, he's supposed to take over in these moments. But at the end of the day, he wasn't effective. Chris Paul was not really being that effective. He was also struggling. Devin Booker was trying to be effective. He was effective at times, but he wasn't nearly as effective. And then he fouled out. Everybody was struggling tonight. So I can't hold it on Paul George and be like he's the only one that's like, everybody struggled. So I'm not going to point out Paul George regarding how he played overall. However, for the free throws, that is tough because they're down 3 and he stepped to the free throw line. Now, obviously, because they're fouling, it's up to Paul George to make the first one, deliberately miss the second one, and give them a chance. There's a moment. He's at the free throw line. He flat out misses the first free throw. And this is what makes it suck. He misses the first free throw. And then the second one, executed perfectly, hits the rim, bounces out. It gets to DeMarcus Cousins, and it's a loose ball foul, and he gets to go to the line. So Cousins gets to go to the line for 2. You see where I'm going with this? Had Paul George hit his first free throw, then Cousins would have to make both of his free throws to tie the game. Because that first free throw would have made it a 2-point game, and with Cousins going to the line, he would have had an opportunity to tie the game. But because Paul George missed that free throw, that doesn't happen. So people are definitely going to hold him accountable. It is what it is. But, yeah, they just kept playing the foul game. And the sad part about it is two things. One, that ball was out on Cameron Payne, and the refs blatantly refused to go review it. Had they reviewed it, they would have seen it, and it would have been Clippers ball. So I know a lot of Clipper fans are heated because of that. The refs were terrible all night, so it don't even matter. But, like, they should have reviewed that. They really should have reviewed that. And I know the Clippers feel screwed because they didn't review that. So that's one. And two, they had an opportunity to foul who I think it was Saric. Yeah, I believe it was Saric. So Saric, they had an opportunity to foul Saric and send him to the line. They don't do that. And of course, they don't do that, which leads to Cameron Payne ending up getting the ball, which knocks it out. So they could have fouled him and sent him to the line and put the pressure on him. Instead, they don't. What ends up happening is because, they don't decide to review it, the ball ends up, they have to inbound the ball again, and Crowder passes it to CP3. And CP3 is the best free throw shooter on the team and had the best free throw shooting percentage in the league this past season. So he wasn't going to miss free throws. And he didn't, which is why they won the game. So at the end of the day, the Suns take a 3-1 lead. They're up one game away from CP3 playing in his first NBA Finals. It should be a fun one. We'll see what happens. Is this the end for the Clippers? Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But with that being said, that is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!